In this video, I'm going to point out some of the things we look out for on an inspection walk on behalf of Peak Northern Footpath Society. And to start with, we have some good news. A new style on Footpath 75, result of our lobbying. As a ladder style, not ideal, but it works across the railway with another ladder style on the other side. We would like to see these replaced wherever possible. We travelled down into the Ladybrook Valley on footpath 109, and here there's a rather curious style. I'm not sure who's built it. It's built onto a fallen tree, but it works. It's quite easy to get over, so although it's unorthodox, I have not reported that, although I did check to see whether it was an authorised structure. The path follows the river here. We go down a bank here between the trees. This is a little bit tricky, but it's not something that I would report. We come on to Poynton 14 now, which goes up the hill here as part of the Ladybrook Interest Trail, and this path has gradually been getting worse. Water runs down it, and these steps have become quite badly eroded. So I think particularly here you can see there are holes between the steps, and ideally we would like to see these steps improved. We go up the hill here on a pleasant path. Some trees have come down, nothing too serious, but it would be good to see those removed, those small barriers. And through the woods here we eventually come to a sign which marks the Ladybrook Valley Interest Trail, advising us that some of the path here is a permissive path, not a right of way, but we're going to stick to the right of way, which goes off to the right here and takes us to a stile into the next field. This stile is in good condition, I'm pleased to say. We go up the side of this pasture on a path that is pretty good to use in almost any weather. At the top of the field there's another stile. This one is also in reasonable condition. We go on to a bridle way alongside these telephone masts towards Tower Farm. This is a bit of a muddy bridle way, but and you can see here quite big puddles, but that's inevitable this time of the year. We turn off here to go through these farm buildings onto Poynton Footpath 12. There's an old stone barn here which I always find interesting. Perhaps one day somebody will renovate it. Stile next to the gate here, a little bit awkward, not a priority. We cross the field. Keep an eye on these horses, they all seem very calm. Not going to worry about those. And we come down the hill. There's a marker here, a way marker, slightly at a angle, but still standing. That could do with being rooted, or whatever the word is, to be stood upright. Stile here taking us into the woods again. Down this path, which is occasionally obstructed by fallen trees and branches. This is okay today. Holly bushes on both sides, and then some steps at the bottom. This is the other side of that permissive path that we met earlier on. Down the hill here we meet the road. We cross over and over the Ladybrook, Poynton 73. Now here you'll see there is a sign pointing us to the left. The right of way actually crosses this lawn in front of the house, and there is what one can only call an informal diversion around the edge of this garden or lawn. This is how the problem has been recorded on our database. You can see there's a bit of work on the bridge for the recent floods, and we come onto this path, which originally went straight on over the railway, up those steps there, and it was suggested that the railway were going to close this path, but it still seems to be available. But the main path now is diverted to the right and is a much improved path which takes us up onto the side of the railway and indeed into Middlewood station. We didn't object to this diversion because the other route was across some very wet ground and some very dodgy boardwalks. So we actually go along the platform here and off to the right. Up these steps onto the Middlewood Way, where there was a useful information board telling us the history of the Middlewood Way, once a railway line from Marple to Macclesfield, and something about the wildlife, the birds, hedgehogs, and particularly interesting the bats. Here is the other end of that path I was talking about that has been diverted through the station. We go off to the right here, it's still Marple 200, through the gate here and up a slight incline. This is all a good path. Now we're looking for a path off to our left here, and it is not well marked. When we do eventually find the sign, it is pointing in the wrong direction. And the route through these scrubby holly bushes, Footpath 74, we're back in Hazel Grove, is fairly easy to find, but ideally needs to be cut back and waymarked. I think I perhaps need to come back here in the summer and do some cutting back of that vegetation. Now at the bottom of this slope we come to what can only be called an obstruction, because it is not a stile. The cross pieces are broken off and are lying on the ground, and so this has been reported as an obstruction. So we clamber over it as best we can. There's the broken bit, well and truly useless now. And we go along the dam of this pond, and this is also very badly overgrown, needs cutting back. a job for another day. Just about get through, but it's pretty bad really. And here we come to another style which is also in poor condition, but it does at least still have the cross piece, and we have a way marker which reassures us that we're on the right route, which actually follows the side of this field, heading towards the A6 in the distance there. And as we approach these cottages, here we have another small victory, because the footpath here was very badly overgrown and impenetrable for many, several years.
It's clearer than when I was last this way.
So I'm pleasantly surprised to find that it has been cleared during the summer.
Yeah, it used to be impossible to get this way.
That's looking back. Now we have to negotiate the A6 safely. Squeeze style on the step there, and we cross over the road to Hazel Grove 71 along the side of the Royal Oak, and we come to another path which has over the years presented a lot of problems. It gets very overgrown in the summer. It's not really well used. Bit of a vicious circle really. The less it's used, the more overgrown it becomes. There's the original style, but the gate's wide open, and we just have to make our way through this long dead grass as best we can. This gets a lot worse in the summer months. There's an old deer fence here, and the path runs along the side of it, and does tend to get very wet and muddy. That's there's a spur which goes off to the right here. We're ploughing on through this vegetation, and yes, there's the spur going off to the north, and here's a stile which tells us that we are on a footpath, although sometimes you would hardly know it. Now this is the section of the path which does have some quite serious drainage issues. Just down here it becomes extremely wet and muddy in whatever the weather. Actually it's not too bad today. Sometimes it is completely flooded. So that has been reported as an issue. Now here we have an interesting case, because this path has been blocked by the landowner because he discovered that it's not actually on the definitive map, and Stockport are in the process of correcting that through a legal order. At the moment it's still closed. But we're heading over this stile onto another section of the path through this field. Doesn't appear to be being used for anything. It's just rough pasture. And the path takes us to a gate which seems to have been put in by the local owner. Wrought iron gate, looks as though it's come from this garden, but anyway it's perfectly adequate as a gate. And another kissing gate here, no problem there. So we cross this corner of the field, heading for the I think it is, yeah, this has been diverted because of the work done on the stream here when it flooded a few years ago. So part of the path has actually been improved, and there's a gate there which is good to see, and the path taking us down towards some stables, so that's well signposted. We're coming back now to cross the Middlewood Way. You can see it's an old railway line, and so the original part of the National Cycle Network, number 55, and originally you can see that the footpath went alongside. Now we come down onto the road here, and there is no footpath sign on the road as there should be, so it's something we always look out for. Each right of way needs to be signed from a metalled road. Across this field, which does get rather wet, especially around this stile in the corner. We need to be wearing our boots or waterproof shoes to get through here. It's something that could be reported, but it's very unlikely that anything's going to be done about it. We're coming onto a Hazel Grove golf course here, and we're actually going to cross the golf course on a right of way. There are signs. I had a discussion with the secretary of the golf course about the signage, and it has been improved. And then we cross the railway on this bridge. Steps the other end, all in good condition, and there's one of the signs that have been erected. We're crossing another fairway here, so we need to watch out for golfers. And there are one or two waymarked discs to reassure us that we're on the right route. Finally, we come to a good gate which takes us out of the golf course and back to the A6. Here's a map of the whole route, about 3.5 miles in total. Quite an interesting route, I think. I hope you agree. And maybe this little video has inspired you to contact us to become a footpath inspector yourself. We're always looking for new volunteers, especially in our more distant, that is to say distant from Stockport areas, where we certainly need to find more volunteers. Thank you for watching this video. On behalf of the Peak and Northern Footpath Society, that's all for now.